we still had the full function. But the ancients understood one thing, that they had a race before time. They had a race against time. They knew that one day that these particular spiritual records that is in our DNA would shut down and would go offline, because as time went on, we started deteriorating, where it become more dormant. So what they had to do, they had a race between time. That's what they built Egypt for. They built Hemmitt to record as much records as they could before this shit shut down, and before our senses shut down, and we just become dumbfounded. Now, all this stuff comes together, because I often wonder if the Africans was just as advanced as the Egyptians. You have to often wonder this: why didn't the other Africans build the same type of society?
Right.
With all the large monuments.
Yes.
The Africans didn't need to build a society because they were very advanced. They had all that shit was in their head. It's just that they sent an expedition during the time of Atlantis at one part of the earth, mainly the center part, to build all the monuments so they can have when all this shit shut down. When this stuff start going dormant.
So in the center part of Africa,
they built the monuments so that they can have the monuments of records of all the knowledge they knew once this knowledge starts to shut down, because they had become more and more dense into the physical.
All right. Now, see, we were talking on the wind. I want you to throw that in there, because you were saying that is why all the stuff is spiritual. You don't see economic system and so forth. So explain that, because what you're saying is very heavy. Now they had seen.
I documented that the thrice great Hermes Hermetica by Copenhagen, Walter Scott, and G.R.S. Mead, as well as the new Nag Hammadi Library, which is the book called the Nag Hammadi Library that they dug up in 1945. That prophecy in there about you being in a land and the white man will be better than you and you'll be treated as a common criminal. That prophecy is also in the one they dug up in 1945. So we do know that we can trace it back almost 5,000 years that they knew that one day they was going to go into slavery. If we know that you got 5,000 years to prepare for something that's going to happen, you got a long time to prepare. And they did prepare, because they had the advanced knowledge to know the future. Now, and we have the documentation. And I just gave you some. There's tons of it. They did prepare. Even in India, they say one day the man will eat the sacred cow. They have a document over there. But they did prepare. So now, here we are in 1999.
Pyramids and all of these, the Valley of the Kings, the tombs and everything, all of this is a part of that preparation.
All that. All your temples, all the papyruses. Then they gave it out to the world. They gave the Greeks some, they gave the Romans some, they gave it all to the world. See, they knew that later on that the white man would come. If he didn't have no knowledge, we would never get the knowledge back. Now let me explain something. Let me go in this thing here. If they prepared, when we look back in 1999, why, if they prepared a way for us to get out of this, why we don't see no economic blueprint on how to get out of this, how to start businesses and all this stuff that we want so bad, why we don't see no physical weapon war machine on how to build new guns to kill the cracker, why is it that the only thing, if they had 5,000 years to prepare, why is it the only stuff that we get out of that is religious stuff?
Yes. Gotta have something to do with our
because the basic premise of the Osiris is he's a caterpillar, and he goes into the cocoon. Then he comes out a butterfly. The cocoon stage is what we have been shut down and been living in all these years. Now, you don't come out of damn cocoon to go back to a damn caterpillar. So the whole Afrocentric community is off. We're not supposed to go back to Egypt and be Egyptians. Been there, done that. You come cocoon to be something, a metamorphosis into a new creature. The alien is us in our new form. So they were only concerned with the soul and what the soul was going to go through in the next paradigm shift, because we had been on the earth for thousands of years doing the human thing. And that existence was over. So we gave it to the damn white boy. We gave it to the damn white boy. That's why he was the last to rule. We knew he was going to be the most destructive. That's why we gave it to him in the last couple of years. So you got to notice one thing about history. Now just listen to me what I'm saying. The white boy has really only been ruling for a little over 90 years.
That's true.
First of all, he didn't rule Africa until the late 1800s.
Correct.
He had the slaves, but he took Africa in the late 1800s. See what I'm coming from? He was warned against his own damn self for 700 or 800 years. He only became a world power to dominate the entire world this century. In the latter part of last century with the British Empire. So that means he's only had roughly about close to 100 years ruling. And compared to what we have been ruling, that's almost like an hour. So you just got to look at the bigger picture of things. You see what I'm saying? Everything is under control. He might run around this motherfucker, but he don't run this shit. We run this shit. He might run his little ass around this shit. The white boy might run his little ass around here, but we run this motherfucker. It's just that the African has been convinced, or the ancient one has been convinced, that he doesn't, only in his damn mind. Why is that? Because in the course of us getting hit in the head as slaves, we come out wanting the same little old material mess that he wants, which is nothing. Trinkets. You know it doesn't have any value. He got to keep reinventing stuff new. And the Kabbalah says that the true ones, they say the intruder will come. Now what's an intruder? An intruder is a person that wasn't there in the beginning, that is there now, that's ruling over the original people. And the Kabbalah says, A.E. Waite's Holy Kabbalah says, and the intruder, he rules because he causes luxury. And he rules through his luxury. He's a chameleon. Keep changing the fashion, keep changing the technology, and you keep running after the shit. He causes luxury, material possessions. So he really ain't the king of nothing. So they say the empire changes of the earth, but it only changes the outer appearance. He's the Lord of illusion. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
He's the Lord of illusion. So in any way, what we're talking about here is why they only came with religious material. Because the religious material tells you in actuality, we are hard-headed. We are looking to build a civilization to match his, and he has civilized barbarism. What we need a bunch of black capitalists for? We have been there, done that. We're trying to get to the next plateau, and that's the problem. What we do, we claim we so damn religious and we believe in Jesus and all that type of shit here. But it's like the old saying, everybody want to get to heaven, nobody wants to die. We want what we want, and we want to be equal to the white man and not equal to our own God's self. You see. So I asked this question, did the Egyptians leave a blueprint behind if they had 5,000 years to prepare on economic freedom? No, they left spiritual stuff, and the spiritual stuff talk about metamorphosis. Osiris rising to the Heru, and the Heru is the higher realm.